This section, we are actually going to be talking about two different themes. We will be talking about the Calypso music production end of things, as well as essentials in composing Calypso, something that's very important then and now. I would like to, of course, just introduce these fine folks on our couch. We have Second Star, of course, Second Star with a 2017, making it 17 years of devotion to the culture of Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, he was born Nestor Box Hill. He has become one of the most promising and multi-dimensional talents in the soca fraternity, boasting great contributions to, of course, as a writer, as a producer, as a composer. Next to him, we have Brax. Could I call you Brax?
You could call me.
All right, so Dal Braxton, aka Brax, started his music career
about 25 years now.
Over
25 years. If we're going to take it back to the origins, about 25 years.
So he has
Since I was in my Pampers then.
So he has been producing for over 20 years, but as a DJ, he actually started at a very early age of 15. He got into music production in the mid-late 90s and landed a job at the Engine Room Studio in Marval. Bringing back memories to you, right?
Yep. Yep.
Of course, which was one of the top recording facilities in the country at that time. We also have Jean-Michel Gilbert. He is, of course, the music and film specialist on our panel discussion today. Of course, he has over 25 years of experience in developing and promoting music of Trinidad and Tobago and even from the Caribbean. And, of course, Jean-Michel, he is the world manager of Calypso Rose. Of course, to all those who were here earlier would have known that. And he's also the business consultant for Marsh Montano for continental Europe, as well as Bungie, Fayan, to name a few. We also have on our panel, I'm seeing a very handsome smile there from Chasu. Richard Chasu Ahong has been in the music industry, music business for over 30 years. He has made his first tour at the age of 11. You made your first tour at age 11? Wow, okay. And of course he plays keyboards, and he also musically directed for top local bands such as Ecstatic, Atlantic, Second Image, and Taxi, to name a few, right? He also worked as a producer with great local artists from Dennis Plummer to David Rudder. And now, next to him, we also have a young man who performed earlier on, Gary Cordner. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are our members of our panel discussion, which I will begin now. So, the first question. Tell me about your music recording process. Anyone?
Well, I think the process varies from producer to producer and writer to writer. I think to talk a little bit for the writers and composers. My way of producing usually is to get in the mind of the artist, like more or less figure out what do you like, what you don't like. It's a real personal thing for me. So I love to sit with artists, get inside of your head, make sure that we are on the same page before we start any production. And once we get the production going, once we start to produce, because of my background in DJing and that kind of stuff, I'm a very rhythmic person. So even before I play any chords, I would usually base a lot of my stuff around rhythm, right? Because especially if we're doing our form of music, because I think our form of music is rooted in the drum, is rooted in that strong spiritual feeling that comes from within. And I think the drum, from my perspective, conveys my feeling the most. So I usually start from the rhythm, and then from the rhythm we will build from there. And yeah, I take it from there and make it come together and make it be what it's supposed to be. So yeah.
Chasu, is your recording process similar or a lot different?
similar but a lot different. I come from a musical background, so usually I start with music first, more like the chords, the structure, and so forth. I kind of consider myself more like a tailor. So when an artist comes to me, I try to figure out, like, okay, what kind of style he has, because I try not to impose my style on them. Because as a producer, you should be versatile in one way that you should have a signature, but you should be able to bring out each artist's particular style. You know, so let's say I did H2O Flow, they have the particular sound. Then I would have done Blazer, who has his particular song, and then do Lil Bits, who have a particular song, and so forth, and try to bring out their particular style in my music.
Now let's hear from the artist, Second Star. How is your music process like?
Well, my mic louder. My style, the way I do stuff is a bit more erratic. Sometimes controlled, but more erratic. Has a lot to do with the feeling that I have at that said time. So sometimes I may be presented with a beat, and that beat may tell a story. Or sometimes I may have a story, and then after I'll go to the producer and say, help me bring out this story. But at the end of the day, everything I do is a reflection of the society, whether it be my story, the story of another. So I won't say I have much of a controlled process. It's just authentic and not a song typical, but the vibes.
The vibes, all right. How do you all choose topics? Asking Courtney, and of course you, Second Star. How do you all choose your topics for your songs?
As I said before,
what inspires you?
No, I know. As I said before, it's like my job is to mirror society. My job is to tell the story of my peers. So I make sure that, I mean, a lot of times I do songs for myself. But then after, I have a song like Kings and Queens, which you know is something that needs to be told and is reminiscent of stuff in the past and, you know, things that are innate within us that we may not recognize. It's my job to bring that forth, and that's how I select topics.
Courtney?
All right. Selection of topics. I have a saying that I go along with. Music is in the air, but it's for the ears of the beholder. I'll be walking, I'll be driving. There are different activities you're taking part of, and something happens. Either something like a spark, but I given my experience, and that would tell me. All right, I driving one day, and the word mesmerize. For some reason, I did the radio. Somebody make a sentence and mesmerize, and I'm coming down the highway, and the word stays with me. Mesmerize, memorize, reach the port of Spain, it stays with me. Now, I am a person like this, I must have some melodic instrument, preferably the guitar, the box guitar. That's magic for me. Once I get next box guitar, and I will have something in my head, chords, I will try mesmerize, telling me something, I might try a G, I use chords to sort of express the feeling that I have, and at the end of the period, you know, in 10 minutes, I will know exactly where I want to go.
Well, with my scenario, I write about life, because I think life is about relationship with the audience. I think the most important thing with a song is that it relates to someone or somebody or some group. You know, so I write basically about life, things in general. Sometimes you watch a movie and you see a situation and you say, okay, that'll make a great song or a great story to tell. So my whole thing about writing is telling a story, whether it be fictional, true, but relatable to an audience.
Now, I mean, Calypso is a very happy genre, but sometimes composing outside of Calypso, you tend to have major, minor keys being used. And of course, the minor keys attached to sad music. Do you all also go that way?
Well, strange enough, that principle has changed a little bit, because happy actually starts in a minor key, the song Happy. Because it was said like that before, but now when things are too happy, they're considered childish. So they kind of stray from that now. So a lot of the modes, like with dance music and stuff, already the music is pumping and it appears to be happy. The chord structure is actually in minors to give you that emotional feeling. So it's very important that we understand now that whole concept of minors giving the minor feeling and the major gives you that has been thrown out the door because of society changes. Yeah.
Life brings changes, as he says. Because in the early days, I was blessed to, as you read to the audience, I was taught this business in Engine Room. Engine Room was a studio that was founded by Robin Foster and Peter Schoon. And that place was like the melting ground for everything in Trinidad where culture is built. I mean, as a young guy, 19, 20 years old, I would have been sitting down with David Rudder, Kitchener, Rash OTI, all these people. I would have get opportunities to sit down and ask questions about our music because it had a transitional period. Like, this is just to add to what you were saying. For me, where when you stop trying to just be a producer from overseas and trying to produce music like overseas, when I got into Engine Room, I realized my culture. And I wanted to learn about my culture. And I learned stuff from men like Andre Tanker. I mean, there are people who probably don't understand the contribution of people like Andre Tanker because the younger artists missed Andre. Andre
Don't even know about him.
Probably don't
Sad,
even know.
yeah.
Andre would sit with me with his guitar and Andre would show me the chord progression for Calypso music and this and that. And yet he was not the typical Calypso guy. His music was always on the edge. And I remember learning stuff from Andre and adapting it to what I knew and getting a hybrid of music that was beginning to come out of me. Now, Andre and them would have already told me about, the minor key and the major key. But I started to realize that music sometimes doesn't always go by that logic. Because there was times when I would say, okay, I'll do something sad and do a minor key, and then I realized it's still not feeling right. So it had to be like, right. When I did the first track for that people wouldn't know KMC for, as Bashment Carnival, Carnaval Festival, that track. When I did that song, it was like me using everything that I was taught over the years, and like if anybody is a musician here would go and sit down. You remember the brass line in that song?
It was strange that he said that because actually the song started by me.
Yeah, Chasu started that record, and then Ken and
strange enough, I didn't like the song at all.
It was
and then Braxton, I said Braxton, hey.
That's true, because that's how we used to work back in those days. It started by him, it went by Shock.
Yeah, and then it came by
God bless his soul, Sheldon Benjamin. It left God. I mean, we cannot be on a panel. I cannot be on a panel and don't mention Sheldon Benjamin because my post reason right now, that guy was like an inspiration to me, and I think anybody else who was involved in music in Trinidad. And if you don't know who Shell Shock is, drink poison is a joker. Drink poison is a joker. Yeah, it's like to quote Cohen Dubois right now. No, but after I leave you, I leave Shock. It ain't by me. Because that's how we used to work back in those days. And that's just to tell the interpretation of different producers. When that record gets to me now, I was like, okay, what am I going to do with this record to make it different from the average record on radio? And that's it, the minor key and the brass was in a different kind of melodic and everything was weird. And Robin Foster and them was looking at me like, Daryl, what are you doing? I said, tell me what's wrong. They were like, nothing, but it's just on the edge. I said, yes. I said, because right now I'm about to take music to the edge, but I'm not doing nothing wrong. It's like,
have nothing wrong in music.
Nothing is wrong, you know what I mean? But to the conventional air, the minor key was supposed to carry this and this was supposed to carry that. But I didn't go with that premise. I did what I felt and made sure that it wasn't discorded and it wasn't, it's correct. Let's go. And that's, to me, that's what music is. Music is about that vibe, that feeling, that energy, and not always about the rudiments. Yes, you have to go and learn the rudiments, because I read a little red book called The Rudiments of Music. I don't know if you know that book, Chasu. Yeah. A little red book. I read that from cover to cover. And that taught me to play keyboard. That taught me to do everything. So you understand the rudiments of it, and you know what's right and what's wrong. But at the end of the day, you're feeling.
It's all about expression.
That's what in that room at that point in time. Many times through my production career, I could give you guys stories of that. You go in a room and it's quiet. Everybody's sitting and watching one, and they're like, so what are you going to do? Nobody knows. Case in point, when I did Goofy Live for Bungie and Singing Sandra.
Big tune.
We did Goofy Lie, and literally it was at that point in time, after I did Garland, I was getting more licks because I started getting licks for KMC because that really mashing up the music. And then the following year, we come and we do Garland, so it was like, oh, she's taking it even further though. So then like the older heads were like, what you doing? And that's why we did the song with Sting and Sandra. And we sat in that studio, so we sat there and we were looking at one another like, so what we gonna do? Me, Garland, and Mother there, and what we gonna do? And out of nowhere, after about 2 hours, you came out with this piece of music and the story was told and everything. Music is such a, I don't know, it is...
Vibes.
Yes, boy. It's the only word you can really use to describe music because that room was quiet, dead. We were just there looking at one another, so what are we going to do? And out of that quiet room came a hit record. And so many hit records come out of quiet room. Where music come from, nobody knows. So at the end of the day, we can't always fit ourselves into the little pockets. And we need to just create from within and do the real thing.
So the next question is for Jean-Michel. How easy or hard, or maybe you could also make mention of some of your challenges that you faced managing Calypso and Soca artists internationally?
Oh, first of all, it's an honor to manage Calypso Rose. And it came way back, as I explained, probably 13 years ago now. And I mean, I have different hats with her because I also co-produce her album and co-publish her, you see. It's in the particular case of Calypso Rose, I mean, she's such an exceptional artist. I mean, she can write, she can perform, she can act. You see that, like, 2 hours ago, she can. It was not a speech. It was a show that she gave. So she's 77 years old, and she's still very, very sharp intellectually. You see. So I mean, every day I am surprised how she reacts, how she understands where she is. I mean, she's in France, she don't speak French, I mean, she spent a lot of months there. She would have to spend another, particularly 5 months over there. And she's completely right when she talks to a media, or she's completely right when she talks to... So she has that, inner understanding and opening. What I want to say is, in the particular case of Calypso Rose, which is of course not the case of these young people, the difficulty we have at that stage is the demand in terms of touring, in terms of promo, in terms of everything is enormous. And the challenge that we have is more like a balance between that demand and her health. Because, I mean, she's 77 and she is medically, she has problems, you see. So it's extremely difficult because she will take everything. You know what I mean? She won't say, no, I'll do it. But, you have to be very, very, very careful. And it's a main, I mean, it's very specific to her as a manager, but this is the main issue that we are facing with her. I mean, she has maybe in request probably 70 shows for the next 6 months. I mean, she cannot do it. I mean, it's impossible, you see. So we have to be very strategic, say, okay, for example, Italy or Spain, but okay, they have requests. Well, is it well paid? Of course, that's important. But is it fitting in her agenda? How many travel for her? Is it strategic for the record also? You see, so it's a lot of different information. And being manager of Rose, I am the interface between Rose, which is also a local manager with Lauren O'Connor. I mean, so we all work in participation, you see. And a lot of people now, you see, because you have the record label, which is doing an extraordinary job. And maybe there is in the label, maybe 10 people working on her, you see. Radio, TV, product remixes, you see, so chief product, marketing, very important, marketing head. You have the publisher, which is Because Publishing. You have the European touring agent, which is Azimut. She has a Canadian touring agent, an American touring agent, a South American touring agent. So it's a lot of people which are sending different information that you have to digest and present to Rose in a more simple and efficient way, you see. And so that is a little bit what is our life since 6 months and which is going to be. So it's really a balance between her health and the demand, and to go really to what is essential for her. So it's very specific. I mean, it will be a different work with younger guys or guys which are in development, you see. It will be a different approach.
All right, thank you so much, Jean-Michel. Let's talk about BPMs, all right, beats per minute. Producers, artists, let me know. Do you all think there is a specific BPM range that you'll need to compose Calypso at to make sure it is most effective? Braxton, he watches Chasu.
This is more or less, I could say a pet peeve of mine. I don't even call it a peeve. But I think let me just say it. In growing up, Calypso music was not something that was attractive to younger people because of the nature of Calypso music. I mean, we had songs that we would have heard, the older songs, like we could have go back to the old Kitchener and the Lizard Run Up a Foot and Disappear from Sparrow, and the other ones like those, which you could have identified with. And then somewhere like in my teens and coming up in my mid-20s and thing, Calypso turned into social commentary. I hope I'm not going right. Gary, guide me.
Yeah.
Right? Calypso turned into social commentary. When Calypso turned into social commentary, it alienated a lot of people in that the topics that was written was just about that. Okay, the government do me this, that, PNM is that. Now, I understand the contribution of the Calypsonian to do that. As the Chantwell and the voice of the people, I get that. But it limits and it limited the growth of Calypso as far as I see it.
You said social. It's not social, it's political, because at the end of the day, a soca artist is a social commentator.
Right. Well, so a political commentary.
Yeah, it became overly politically.
It limited the growth of the thing, because now broad-based topics were not tackled anymore. You know, it had topics. I mean, come on, man. Rum and Coca-Cola sold how many copies? Simple song. It was a song that you could play in Kazakhstan, you could play it in India, you could play it anywhere.
True.
Somebody's going to understand it and like it. Right? Now, to me, I am hoping, now I'm jumping past a lot, because I have a lot to say about that as a pet peeve, but I ain't going to waste everybody's time.
Yeah, leave some of it for us.
Yeah. So my thing is this, right? I think now that we see a 77-year-old lady who stuck to her guns through all these years. Calypso, the word Calypso had almost come like a bad word in the industry. You tell a man, sing a Calypso now. No, sing no Calypso. And hence the reason why everybody was rushing to go and sing soca. Now, a hybrid of soca was born kind of under my watch called Raga Soca, which gave the younger guys who had something to say a space to come in. But now Calypso, in its authentic way of telling a story and being a nice song and a nice guitar and a nice vibe, that died into social commentary. And I think I want to see a reinsurgence, because I always tell people, we have a category for Calypso. Calypso is our music. We need to get creative with this thing called Calypso. So going back to your question about BPMs, right? Now, I can take a BPM at a 120 and make a Calypso record with the same fundamentals of Calypso. is a song telling a story with a nice hook, a beginning, an intro, a verse, a bridge, a chorus. I could do that, and then I could do it at 90 BPMs. I could do it. You could do whatever you want. So I don't think that we need to restrict again now Calypso to BPMs. Let Calypso breathe. Let the younger people now who getting into music get to understand that this is our music. Soca is the child of Calypso. And how I like to relate it to the younger guys is that reggae is the mother dancehall, is the child, is the same way. We are not supposed to be ashamed of Calypso at all. We supposed to, because Chronix is singing reggae music across the whole of Europe as a young Jamaican artist, and he's good with it. We need now to get that appreciation for ourselves and say that, all right, a guy who is 19, 20 is supposed to be proud enough to say I can sing a calypso, but he must not be thinking that he had to go out and sing, well, the president and the calypso this and the prime minister this. No, brother, just sing a song.
To add to what he's saying, and it's something that happens, and it's actually happening also in the soca fraternity as well, in the soca industry. You have to understand how music is categorized. They're by genres, and that is based by the rhythmic structure, the chord structure, the way the bass goes with the drums, the way the drums goes with the chords, with the chords. So it's a structure, whether it be horns and so forth. So the problem with what we get confused in is the same thing with production and producers, because most people think producers are beat makers. A man can make a beat, but doesn't make him a producer. You know, the same way a man can sing political commentary and it not be a calypso. So I think the main problem that we have is the misinterpretation of what calypso is, because the rhythmic structure of calypso is what Rose did, but she didn't say, she sang a song on top of it, Leave Me Alone, which is a song that internationally could be recognized by anyone. And nothing is wrong with the music. In fact, people have taken our music and have made millions. People today are doing it. All the Drakes and so forth are taking our music and writing songs on top of it, not carnival music. And that's where the concern for me is, because we create carnival music. We don't create soca songs, because soca is ready to beat. You know, because you can put a reggae. I mean, I remember this too as well. I did a song for After Carnival, which was with Ghetto Flex and Denise Belfon. Rock Your Body Right. Girl, I wanna rock your body right. Which was for After Carnival. But that played in Carnival like a soca song. Why? Because it had two soca artists singing on it. So it automatically became soca. And that's what the misinterpretation is. If you go and you check reggae music, and they check a sheet, they were that doesn't change. You listen to salsa, you listen to Mark Anthony's first release to Mark Anthony's latest release, it's still the same. You understand what I'm saying? It's the rhythmic structure, not the lyrical content that makes a genre of music. And that's where we get confused. You know? So we have to stop thinking that because you put wine and wave, it becomes a soca. No. It becomes a carnival song.
And the sad thing about that to add is that we sit down and we make music for 2 days in a year. Let's be real, people. You sit down, it have 365 days in a year. You telling me that we're going to sit down and make music for 2 days? What about the other 365 though? We need to stop with this thing that, all right, I have to do a soca tune for Carnival and see if I win a road march. And I get that, in it. But all that energy that is based on 2 days, Bob Marley made music how many donkeys years ago?
It's a place, yeah.
Kitcheners make music how many donkeys years ago, and they'll still play today? Normal. Because they were not making music for 2 days.
I don't mean to sound bad, but nothing is wrong with our music.
No, nothing is wrong with our music.
It's something is wrong with the people.
I love our music.
That's the reality of it. And because everybody can take and make hits, we can share hits. The Bajans do it, and they have international hits, right?
With the soca.
Right now they're licking us again. They come back and they beat us with all the things that we did.
Sorry, that was last year, my brother. Last year, my brother.
Every check they're doing things that we did, and it's the next problem that we have too as well. We think that old and traditional is bad. You know, They took what we did 20 years ago and give it back to us, and we swallow it and eat it like it's something
You
brand
remember
new.
the quote-unquote Bajan invasion in the 90s?
Yeah.
And all what happened was Preacher and everybody was running at about 100 and how much BPMs, and the music was going a little too fast, and then in the middle of nothing, Nicholas Branca drop a guy called Edwin Yearwood singing, and we say, hey,
Everything slowed down.
Everybody was like, wait, what's that? That's our music. That's our music.
Our music
that Nicholas Branca
with
take
songs in it.
and give us back it out. Then hear what happened. Say what started to happen. What was really weird about that period? Man was like, boy, I go in Barbados to get a song.
No, but it's happening right now.
And I was like, what was
Everybody going to Barbados to record.
That is not true.
What are you doing?
The reality is, and this is something to I have to say to as well. Trinidadians, which I have no friends. I love my country, and I'm a patriot to my country and my culture, and I believe in my country and I believe in my people. But let's be real. We don't face reality. We are self-proclaimed. We have the best carnival in the world. Who gave us that title? We. The Viking of soca, who gave him that title? Him. Everybody have to come to reality. The day that we come to reality, and Jean-Michel will tell you that, how much songs could he sell that comes to Trinidad a year? Out of the 1,000 songs that are produced a year, how many songs could he take and sell on the market? Maybe less than 1%. Why? Am I?
No. It's a reality. I mean, what you say, and what should I say is BPM. Low key. You see all that. Minor key, etc. It's I feel what is important is to start by the vibes, to start by the poetry. And maybe this is what is missing in Calypso today.
Thank you.
Because you can do a song which is a social commentary, but which is done with naive poetry of a Calypsonian, and it becomes a very important song.
Marketable,
you see?
yeah.
I just can mention No Madame from Calypso Rose that she wrote way ago. It's a pure social commentary song about the civil servant, which were about the domestic servant, which were practically unpaid and changed the law. It's a true story, but it's done with a poetry and with a sense of hook and second degree, and so I feel that it should start by the vibe. It should start by being true, but now after. There is a market also, yes. So that is when it becomes, you have to be aware, what is the market? If you have a market for 1 month, which is the case for Carnival, the market is becoming very small. You have to do produce them very fast because you're not sure that you will have any income. So it limits your scope. Yeah. Now, if you are a market which are 360 days, like the reggae market or the dancehall market, it changes the equation. So, how to change it? That is probably, we come back to the discussion that we have with the quota on radio. If the radio are not able to, by themselves, push their own culture, maybe that is where you have the government can help. Not to a big extent, you see, but at least to be sure that all the year you can listen to music, you see. And after that, about the marketability, that is again another story, I think. But you have always to be very aware about that. Just Far From Home, it takes 3 years to do it. 3 years. And we started with Ivan Duran, which is the producer. It is one of the top world music producer. It worked with, at the time, Andy Palacio, which Gary Funa, which awarded, the best WOMEX artist like Rose. So, we choose that particular approach with a guy who loves Calypso, which is very, everything is instrumental.
Yeah.
But he started with beats also, so it was a mix between the two. And when it becomes more complex, it's that album that we did was not sufficient. It's when Manu Chao, which is the Bob Marley for the French and for, different country like Latin country, you see. He came, met Rose, vibe with Rose, and had additional production which was in a more Latin pop way. And so you see how it started. It started from Calypso, organic, a little bit world music interpretation, and on top of that, a kind of Latin rock pop kind of, well, not pop, but I mean Latin rock. And that takes 3 years to have, and how many, I know it takes 6 months to finish the album and change it. And I mean, you have to be very patient, and after the label have to say, we don't like that, blah, blah, blah. So it was a long work. And why this is a good album is because of that also. So there is so much ingredient which has to be put together to reach the stage. And I think the market here, I mean, if you ask you to do 2 years to do an album for Carnival, you will say, Jean-Michel, you're crazy. I mean, so you have to be, change has to happen, you see. That is, a change has to happen. I don't know if we are able to change that. I mean, we need maybe to be unified and help and reach that. Now, what I want to say also for Calypso is, the label is a very young label because it's a label of people like Daft Punk, people like a lot of EDM. When they release the album Far From Home, the 12 strong, anytime that they release a single, they do at least 4 or 5 EDM remixes. Yeah. And this EDM remix is not forced on people. It's the European produced young guys, like 20 years old, which love Calypso, take it and put it with their vibes, you see. So what I would like to say and what I would like to see in Trinidad is young EDM guy, young hip-hop guy, young soca guy, bring back to Kaizo. Bring back to this sound from the 50s, from the 60s, you see. So you have a lot of hook, you have a lot of melody, you have a lot of basic, material, which is our own, and just twist it, make a spin on it, and it maybe will be able to be more sellable thanks to Calypso Rose's success with this Calypso album.
Yeah, and he's
Second,
totally correct.
I know you wanted to say something.
Well, I'm just not saying much, but to the point that was made before, I understand everything in terms of the BPM. Well, BPM has nothing to do. Well, I don't say it has nothing to do, but I think a calypso can be done at any BPM. I think a soca song can be done, as he said, is the pattern that goes behind it. It's a lot to do with the music that makes it, whether it's soca. You could speak on any topic, and in times past, when I listen to many greats like my father, like when I go into Shadow's catalog, and these are the catalogs that I'm familiar with, you'll see that there are a lot of songs that may not have come to Carnival prominence, but were telling stories of the people. And as he spoke there, I mean, at the end of the day, our main earning point for a lot of us is that Carnival period. So it is unfortunate that those songs will come to the forefront, but that is not for a lack of creating other songs or speaking on other issues. That just doesn't come to the forefront because our mainstream market is Carnival. So there's no escaping that. And saying that the Bayesians doing it better than us, and I actually do not agree with that in the fullest degree, because if you check it, it is not I love Barbados till the day I die. But the point is a lot of Trini writers going across there and telling their story, and it's just Bayesian accent singing it.
So that's the point I was making.
Yeah.
That's the point I was making. The genre, nothing is wrong with the music.
Okay.
Nothing is wrong with calypso or soca. It is the people, the delivery, and the people who accept it and what they want to accept, because the people, the natural public, thinks about Carnival. So if you don't sing a song about Carnival, then you have a problem. Because I'm sure that he has songs, I'm sure that you have songs, I have done songs, right, that would not play on radio because it has nothing to do with Carnival.
There's a point I would like to add to your sentiment. What is so important, in my view, is that we must create the infrastructure where our music must be played 365 days of the year. Because I think, in any country, because that,
In France, 60%.
right.
60%.
60% is what is
Not
played.
here, not so much here, but at
Yeah.
least we should start with
This to me is the major reason that we having problems in the music. Because what has happened is, as he was saying, social commentary, really political commentary he meant. To me, that has developed and has been pushed because of the competitions. The competitions pay properly. Calypso Rose don't make much during the year, so they will go to that, they will write to that. And that is what is kind of aired. But between you and me, I think 70% of the music produced in Trinidad and Tobago doesn't relate to that carnival and that political thing, you know. But we have a lot of music that is not being heard. And I think the better part of it is not being heard because it is not in the topic of the, the carnival stuff. The carnival stuff is necessary. We must do it. It's commercial. But we must, as artists, look at 365 days a year and the world stage. That's my contribution.
I want to say something again to, no offense to him, right? But sometimes everything in life takes sacrifice. And if we keep looking at the smaller picture, because to me, Carnival is definitely the smaller picture. Because I could tell you, I had a #1 hit in France, which was Fireball, What I Want, which was #1 in France, and other 8 different countries, and #2 in the United States. And trust me, my first royalty check, and I have 2 cut awards as well as a writer. All my life in cut, no offense to cut, not even 1% of my first royalty check for 3 months from that. So if we keep looking at the smaller picture and looking at competitions, because competitions are for amateurs, there's nowhere in the world that you will see professionals
Competing against each other.
But a man will say, that's the only way we can live. Yeah, but sometimes it's better that we live for the future than we live for today, and we make decisions for today.
And to add, clappers and to
Or
add,
do both.
yeah, is just like what Jean-Michel was saying, how long it takes to make this thing come together. I remember, I'm going to drop a next name again, Christian Cabaza. God rest his soul again. Next serious guy who came here into Trinidad, saw what the potential of this people could be.
He died here in Trinidad.
Died here. This guy came here and saw the potential of Trinidad. And apart from what the status quo would be, and everybody would be like, yeah, let me just make music for Carnival. Christian, along with like the mindset of a Jean-Michel, they always saw it as, let us make music for the world. So Christian sacrificed his life as a French guy come Trinidad and sacrificed. So who am I? Who are we to sacrifice for our own thing? And instead of saying that, where we have to make, yes, we have to make music for Carnival. I get that. But don't let the festival dictate the music. Let the music dictate the festival. It's about time we get that mature. It's about time we decide that, okay, it doesn't matter, you don't have to say jump and wave and whine, make good music. Let the music start dictating the festival. And there's a whole new brand of youths coming now to do music. Go in our psyche. Start thinking, you dictate the Carnival. It's going to happen. It's going to take some work. But the status quo and the narrative need to change.
He did it with Rose.
He did it with Rose. I mean, when talking about the length of time staying in studio, just was 2010. I was, well, from 09 to 10, me and Christian sit down with a little group called Nebula 868. Nobody didn't know these two little fellas. We were trying to build a record called Amped Up. And Kill Me Dead now, like, yeah, I'm going to do this dance thing and this and that and yeah, this club thing. And Christian would come there late in the night and he'd be like, Davil, let me hear what you all have. Let me see, play it. And you play it and he's like, Davil, that synth is not right. I am telling you it is not right. It is not right. It is wrong. That synth is wrong.
He was very, very irritated with that. Yeah, he was very irritated with that.
That synth is not right.
I don't know.
That synth is not right, Davil. You have to get the right synth. And Christian now would call his guys in France, producers, and have them play music for me on the phone. And we'll be there in the studio late in the night listening to tones, listening to synths. It took us about almost a year to build Amped Up.
One song.
When we dropped Amped Up, everybody in Trinidad and Tobago knew who Nebula 868 was. You understand? It took us about a year to make that song right. And every time I think I have it right, they play it for Christian, like, Davil, the kick, it is not sticking out. You need to get a higher kick. That kick drum is for soca music. Davil, it is dance music you're making.
His favorite line was, That not passing the airport. That song is not passing the airport.
That is not going to pass the airport that way. And listen, people sacrifice. We would have stayed there night after night after night. But the first day that record dropped, Trinidad was like, who is these little fellas? Who are these little fellas? Because now you want to make an impact. And once again, it's like Chasu was saying, it's not about the music, it's about the people. We, as musicians and artists, need to change our attitude towards what we do. Amen. The people is our problem. We have real talented producers and musicians in Trinidad, but this up here is where we just fall short. We don't understand the sacrifices. We don't understand what it takes to reach that spot. We see people there and we tell ourselves, oh yeah, he do it. Overnight successes take about 13 years. You understand? When you see somebody pop out, you're like, oh, he get overnight success. No, go check back. Throw away some calendars and go backwards and see how long this guy has been in the trenches. You now hear about it. Overnight successes take time, people. And I honestly think that with our music, we know where we want to go, but we keep going down the wrong roads to get there. It's like we're trying to go Arima, but we say, you know what, boy, I'll go down the highway and then I'll go through, so and I'll go. No, you're going to reach Arima, but it'll take too long. Take the correct pathway. It might look like they're a little rocky and this and that, but dread, you will get there. We need to stick to our course, know what we're about, and as I just always say too, the generation gap. You see like what we're doing here? It's silent start. Second start, it's silent. Second start. Disseminating information to younger guys is something that missed over the past 10 years. And a lot of younger guys decide to do what they want to do. And that is not their fault. That is not their fault at all. Right? But we had to find a way. You see back, I was just telling Jean-Michel, when Jean-Michel had Ritual Records, they had the Yard. The Yard and Rituals was the place where the older and the younger people used to come together and information used to be shared. So you find we had a stronger culture then. We had 3 canal bone, we had this one bone, we had that one bone. The culture was strong because the energy was there and the information was always there, and knowledge is power. And a lot of times what happened with the younger guys are they're not getting knowledge. So the power a little less now. The power a little weak, you need a little more volts now.
Well, that's right now we want to actually open up the floor right now for questions. Oh, we have our first question. We actually have Mike in the crowd there. So do we have any questions from? Okay, first question.
We already see that there are a number of soca artists who have kind of started to look back a bit. I think you can look back at The Boss with Marshall, with that brass, which was typical long-time Calypso brass. And you can look at MX Prime, the kick beat this year. It's back to the dub Calypso, right?
A modern day Calypso.
Solid. So you can see that there's some attempt to now start going back. So that's good. Here's my question. The plethora of people who are performing, producers like yourselves, what is important for the integrity of when artists come to you and they're singing out of key? I have a real issue which has to be addressed in Trinidad and Tobago. Jamaica, no, let's be honest. Jamaica, the reggae acts are singing solid in key. Even the people in the Barbados scene that you talk about, which was a very good point. Something is happening here. People have to know you can write a song, but you may not be the singer. You can't get the blind. So what for you all is the most critical thing? Is it making the money, put on the auto-tune, get them there and get them and take the money, or there's an integrity in it? Hey, you are not ready, go and get some vocal training, some coaching, come again and we record you. What is important for you guys?
Well, that's actually a very good question. Well, me personally, and you can ask any artist, I always tell them, before I do your song, I need to hear it before. And you can ask anybody who ever worked with me. Now, if I Again, I believe a song is somebody's baby, so I wouldn't tell somebody that your baby ugly, you know. But what I would usually say is that I don't think I could do justice to this song. Or maybe if the person is really singing off and stuff, I'd say, I think that you should take that money. In fact, somebody threatened me a day because I told them that here was going on. I think you need to take some money, take some time, go get some vocal classes, and come back, maybe come back. The guy went and come back and threatened me. But, so that's one, right? So that's just my way of working. So I usually say, before I do a song with you, I need you to come in and I need to hear it. So that's one. The problem is now, you have to ask now, and I said something earlier on, that there are people who call themselves producers, but are really beat makers, right? So the question is, you have to ask, do they know that they are singing out of key? That's the question that they first have to ask. Does the producer know what is singing in key? I mean, I've heard, in fact, I won't call names, but I heard a recent song by a very big artist. I won't call his name, right? And I'll just give a little hint, but her harmonies and stuff were totally out of key, like out of key. And this is a top artist, only top 3, right? Why? Was it because the producer wanted her to sing out of key? He probably didn't know. He probably didn't know what a proper harmony is. Because again, education is important. It's not just putting on a beat. A producer, people get tired with a producer. What a producer is somebody who knows every aspect of the project. They have to know about chord progressions, they have to know about engineering, they have to know about vocal arrangements, they have to know about musicianship, like who's the person, because for example, Quincy Jones got Grammys for Thriller album, which was Michael Jackson album, and he didn't play a note. He didn't play one note on that album. So the producer doesn't necessarily have to be the beat maker or the keyboardist. The producer is the one who oversees the project, make sure the vocals are correct, make sure you get the right brass section to do it, the right harmonies and so forth. And that is where the problem is. Everybody who has a computer now is a producer and an arranger, you know? So no offense to anybody here, but the reality is that I believe 95% of the times that they don't even know that the person's singing out of key.
I want to hear.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Is like this, right? Well, Chasu was always amongst our peers. He was always a nice guy. Me, I idiot. My thing was, people know that. You come around me and you're not singing in key, leave. I don't owe you money. I don't want nothing to do with you. Leave. Till it's so much so, man, this is a Braxton cocky. I don't care, say a cocky. But I'm not trying to produce you if you're singing out of key. I will talk to you, I will show you a little breathing techniques and things and tell you, well, go try this. Try the other. Probably come back and check me in a little while. Let me see where you reach in the whole scale of things. But I'm not really trying to run out and produce you, because here I always tell people, at the bottom of that record, there's mark produced by Darrell Braxton. Right? And that is what's going to go down in history. That is another one of the product that I just put out. And I think we all have a responsibility, from producers, artists, songwriters, everybody, to be the best that we could be. Don't try to be the best. I could be the best Darrell. Chasu could be the best Chasu. Don't try to be, no, I could just try to be the best that I could be. So I just try to impart that to artists. Do half sell yourself. Do not come in the studio by me and tell me, well, you can't just put on auto-tune and Brax, boy, you can't just tune that. What? We could use auto-tune for, if we feel to use the plugin as a style. If we want to notes, if I feel I am not going to, you come in the studio and I sit down and I record you and then I'm going to tune your whole voice. No, it doesn't work that way. And a lot of people don't get that part.
I've heard producers say as well, good point, I've heard producers say as well, just go in the booth and sing, I'm not here to teach you to sing. You go in and sing, whatever you sing, I record it, give me my money and you go.
And go. No, but that is standard. I mean, a real man know they're taking cream. At the end of the day, they need to eat.
A particular artist told me, Chasu, you don't want to make money out. A big artist are talking about, Chasu, what all this long thing there? Boy, just mix the thing and put it down and send it out. I said, I can't do that. It's not my nature to just take somebody money and do it halfway. It's already hard doing a good song to get played. Fellas for a song not done halfway.
A night I recording, well, I'll use the extreme. I recorded Beanie Man a night. And for the life of, because Jamaicans have a way, I don't know what it is, but like there's here a semitone lower. I don't know if you come across that. But they hear a semitone lower. I don't know what it is. Like sometimes they just start off hearing right and then they just drop a semitone low. Yeah, the dancehall artist. It is just it drops a semitone low. Always and it is bottom, you know. It is bottom, you know. So I recorded Moses and Moses there, the boots, and I like, Dan, you're flat though. He like, Braxton, you talk about flat. I say you're flat though. He said, boy, bad man, I record since before you're born, this, that. I said, boss, you're flat, yes, my friend, you're flat. He's like, no, I'm not flat. And he continued in the boot and he sing now. When he come out of the boot, I played back for him. He said, blood, me flat. He said, me flat. I said, go back in the boot. Let me fix the thing. Because at the end of the day, it have a kind of thing, a vein somewhere in the back here.
It's raised there.
Hurt me. When somebody's singing out a keyboard, there's kind of feel kind of off.
It kills me.
It is kind of
Twitch. It's about twitches.
Yeah, right.
It's like
If you record that and you let that record go every time you hear it play on the radio, because it had records that I did that I let certain parts slide, and I tell you, this hold me to this day. You might know it if you hear it, but when I hear that note, I'll be like, to this day, because I like things pitched right. I love that. And anybody who knew me, who been around me, would know that I would stay there 2 days, 3 days. Let me get it right. Let me get it right and get the vibe right, get the key right, get the pitch right. And I think that's a lesson to younger guys.
Lastly, I don't want to dominate the floor, but I'm glad you said that.
Yes, you do have a question waiting to be asked. Do you want to ask?
Oh, no, I was just going to say there's some major competitions where you realize that the record sounds decent on the radio. But when it comes to do it on live, 90% of them are totally.
Well, that's in next. That's in
but we're streaming that, and that's the problem. We're streaming that as international export of our music, and that's a serious problem.
The next problem is as well too, and this is something that is also a deterrence for our music, and that keeps back our music as well. As you realize that the industry has changed from a record selling industry, it is now a live performance industry, where the people who make money are the ones who can perform live. And this is what the problem is, because after you hear a song and you like it, and you bring them out to perform once, they're not going to hire you again, because the same twitch that we just get, their public know about that twitch. So when you go outside and you can't breathe properly, you can't sing a song properly, it's a deterrence. Hence the reason why Rose, as he said again, she's a good writer and she's a good performer and she sings in key. And that is critical in promotion of a song, because a song will play on radio, but when it really comes to life is when the artist goes on tour to promote. And if the artist is giving up bad representation of the song, right, it's not going to help the record, it's actually going to make the record go down. So that's something that we also have to work on, is having good artists, not just good songs. Good songs with good artists to promote it.
So basically, if I had to, come and sing a song, I'll go to you and not Braxton.
So, well, I will tell you, I'm not like, I will tell you, I don't think I could do justice to the song, but he will tell you, go home and let us sing. That's the difference. Neither of us will do it, but.
All right, so we have a final question from one of our members of the audience.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm currently studying music technology at UTT, right? And I want to ask a question. What exactly differentiates the production of Calypso, and in terms of like our culture and stuff, from other genres of music?
Okay. Again, to each genre of music is categorized by the structure of how the drum, the bass, the chord structure, the melody, sometimes even instruments. Like in Latin music, the clave is most important, and the difference between Colombian salsa and, let's say, Colombian salsa is different by just how the clave is hit, right? Our music goes straight back. I mean, I get upset when people say Afro Afro soca, you know, because soca is African. It started from back there. So when they say we have a new Afro soca has always been, soca is part of African music, right? So basically what you're asking is what differentiates it different from, well, the structure, the guitar strum, right, which we have lost, the beat, right? The cymbals, the congas used to be a very major part of our music. You know, that used to be all the elements of what calypso and even soca is. And that's what the problem is today, that we have strayed so far from our true sense of music, right, that we don't even recognize what we have. There's no standardization as well. In Cuba and those places and things, in the Latin American world, there are rudiments that you cannot change. The clave must be, the congas must be so. Otherwise, the piano, they have different names for the piano styles that play, that will categorize. Because if the average person listens to salsa, we just say salsa. They can't tell the difference between salsa, merengue, because they sound the same to us. But the slight little difference of one instrument is what determines and categorizes the genre of music. I don't know if that helps you. Yeah?
All right, so right now I want to say thank you. So, one more question? Okay.
Hi, my name is Akina Jones. I'm also a student at UTT for music technology. My question is, okay, based on what we have spoke about so far, we've talked about calypso and soca and how it's always about carnival time. But I wanted to know, based on our music industry, because yes, we push soca and calypso, but we also don't study the artists, because we have a lot of music, soca artists who started off singing R&B, but the music wasn't pushed. So they end up going into soca because that's how they would get known. So my question is, how would you deal with that? And what do you think you could do to improve Trinidad's music industry, whether it has to do with soca, calypso, or even them just doing a different genre and letting them be known in Trinidad? Because we have Ed Sheeran singing a pop song with a soca beat in it. And everybody loves it. But when one of our artists do it, it's not played unless they actually sing a soca song. And aside from just pushing soca and calypso, I think we need to push our artists as well, because they could do a pop song, a rock song, and still add our influences.
Well said. But there's something that you said there too, again, that the misinterpretation of a soca song. Because you say they have to sing a soca song on top of it, meaning that they have to sing carnival lyrics, which does not define.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. I know that doesn't define it. But generally, that is what happens.
I understand. I agree with you.
So,
what you're saying.
We have you guys that actually don't necessarily stick to that standard. You all do your own thing. You all have the experience. But we have students like myself, to have people who are not even going to school, but just have logic on their computers and just, this is what they're hearing, so this is what they do.
Yeah.
All right? So how do you plan, or how do you think, how can you tell us to go about changing that kind of structure?
I will give you a story, as a personal story and a true story. H2O Flow, I'm sure you all would know H2O Flow. They started off as an R&B group, which I did their first album, which was it was 12 tracks of R&B, right? Of course, didn't do anything in Trinidad at all, right? And then one day I decided, you know what? Seeing that they could sing, let's go and do soca rhythm and put a song on top of it, which was A Little Closer, right? A little closer, girl, you're making me hurt, right? Was talking about same party thing, but it wasn't about jump and wave and so forth, but it was them actually singing. At that particular time in my career, I was at the top of my career at that time, right? I mean, everybody was coming by me, songs were playing on the radio as well. In fact, the top radio stations, and I will call your name, which was 96, Laundry used to be by me, and Paul Richards, who was the program director at the time. They used to come to get songs. Right? And they called Chasu, you listen to these songs, so forth? Yeah, okay. So I sent A Little Closer to them. Paul Richards picked up his phone and called me. Chasu, boy, I know, but that one, I know, boy. That one, I know, boy. It's carnival, people want to hear that. That it's too slow. So, yeah. So I speed it up, and I send it back again. He said, boy, Chasu, boy, I think you're beating a dead horse here, you know, boy. Now, boy, people didn't want to hear that. It never played for Carnival. I decided to do a video for it in May of that year. because I believed in the song. And that's the next problem with all of us here. No belief in what we're doing. Because if one person tell you who can't even dance in time, I won't call names, right? That the song ain't happening, right? The song ain't happening, he can't tap in time to get your song correct, but he's telling you about the beat and right and so forth, right? And we go back and we blame producers. The first thing that artists do, I tell the producer I didn't want that and thing that we always get any blame, right? But before they stand up for what they believe in, and that's what I did. I did a video, spent my money, and I did a video for A Little Closer. It took us to Atlantic Records. The next year, that song was a year old when it started to play in Trinidad, and it became so popular. And we got signed, of course, again, you all will find out about that this evening with legal stuff. Because of legalities, we got signed to Atlantic Records, but VP Records filed an injunction on it because of bad business arrangement. So it was not released outside. It was actually placed in a movie after the sunset with Pierce Brosnan, and that had take it out, and all those kind of different situations happening. But the fact of the matter is that they took what they loved, which was R&B, fused it with our cultural, because it's natural for us. From the time a child is born 1 year old, and they start to whine. Nobody teach them to whine, but they start to whine. It's part of our nature and our culture. And as the Yankees would always say, see that upbeat snare, because they can't get a rhythm at all, you know. We fuse it with that. It makes us unique and it makes us different.
To add to what Chas was saying, and I could bring it even more relevant and drop it in your garden. Same story again. In 1997, a little guy comes to me from Arima, want to be Bounty Killer. When this man opened his mouth, I was inspired by Bodyguard book. You swear it's Bounty Killer. And I'm like, yo, this youth real talented, but he want to sing dancehall. So I'm telling him, I say, yo, as a Trinidadian, you would not be recognized singing dancehall neither in Trinidad or in Jamaica. They're not going to accept you in Jamaica. And in Trinidad, they're going to shun you. I say, you're real about it. I say, but we need to find a way to take what you're doing and bring it home. So, like what you're saying with the guys today who want to get their music played on radio, believe in it. That guy was Ian Alvarez Gallon. When I dropped Gallon first record, it was a record called Send Them Rhythm Mad. I sample Aaliyah. Go and search, go and check who is Aaliyah. That's a girl that Timbaland needs to produce. And she had a song called Are You That Somebody? It's an R&B record. They go right? I take a R&B record, sample it, cut it, flip it, and turn it into soca. Take a dancehall song, then artist. Let him change up some of his vibes and put it on it and make it into a soca record. Trinidad and Tobago was like, who and what is this?
Braxton and I have that history going back, because at that same time in Garland, I did a song called The All-Star Show, which was sampled from the Muppet Show.
But that's what we were doing.
With Bungie Garland, KMC, Ghetto Flex, and Ataclan. In fact, KMC brought Garland.
And I had both of them working together.
And I pull him aside, I say, hey, what's going on? You hear this song? It's All-Star Show, you know. Who you listen? He nobody?
Yeah.
He said, okay, give the man a chance now, boy. I say, all right, I'll give him a chance for you, but the man ain't no star. And exactly what you heard in the record was that one take. He had on green shoes that day. And you listen to the lyrics, he said, with the green shoes on the feet. It was freestyle, and that ended up still on the record.
So
and
people
we put out with this song the same time. He started to go perform. And when I saw his first performance, I was in a static at the time. And we performed with a group called Question in a cooler party down in the West. And Ghetto came out, because Ghetto was real popular at that time, Ghetto Flex. And he sang the first part. And I said, oh gosh, Ghetto do that man, that injustice, boy. Ghetto go mash up the place, and that youth man coming out after. I said, I'm feeling it for Garland, boy. But when Garland come out for the first time and perform, I couldn't believe I said, that man is a star.
People doesn't understand, you see, belief in yourself and talent in an artist. Because a lot of times, what you alluding to, a lot of times is sometimes the artist not to that point yet, you know. They still need to go a little further on their journey to reach where they need to reach so that they will be accepted. as I was said earlier on, overnight success take 13 years. When I did Galen first record, Galen was singing and mashing up competitions all over Arima for years. And nobody knew who this guy was. But that was his overnight success building. And when he came and Send Them Rhythm Mad in that studio that day, what people hear on the record today is the first take that guy did. One take. He never stopped. I never punched. I sat down in that studio with my paws raised and saying to myself, what on earth is happening here?
The funniest thing too, Ataclan is the opposite to him. Ataclan is a man who sit down and write. He's a poet. He sit down and write. I know Ataclan went into the booth to record, and Bunji Gali telling him what he write out of his brain. No, is that lying? So forth.
Yeah. So at that point in time, I remember now, in 1998, a man like Skinny Fabulous could still be eaten today, because now it is acceptable for somebody to do a dancehall style on top of a soca rhythm, right? So the rhythm that is soca is so effective and so strong. It's just what we put on it at any given time, at any given day, what we put on it, and just to always make sure that the artist is up to par. You're not trying to half step, and you're not trying to wait for nobody to give you no airplay. You're bad, so that when the thing reach, they cannot deny you. You know, so it will come, it will happen. But the artists and them need to keep working, don't stop. 2 years, 3 years, you know, start. Just keep going at it and they will get there.
My last word, and just for every artist here, and for the rest, you can spread it for the rest of Trinidad, is that key is to believe in oneself. As an artist, you have to create from within. I think art comes from within. Don't put limitations or you have to do this or try to do this because you want a hit record. Hit records are not made by design. It's something that comes from within. And if we be creative, you would be surprised where your next hit record would be, because it comes from within. Duplicating something, somebody else already did it already, and by the time you come out, they done do it 6 times already. So be you, believe in you, and to me that's what we need to do in Trinidad and Tobago, and try to stop being like other people. Following.
Any final words from Gary?
Yes, hello. Yeah, I'd just like to continue what you said. I would add to it, I would say love yourself. To me, the problem in Trinidad and Tobago, I do find we really love the things that we create and the things that we are, the way we should love it. So I just ask in Trinidad and Tobago to love yourself, please. As an artist, love yourself. That will work out a lot of the things, a lot of the problems we have. We will play more music on the radio that belongs to us. It will be 365 days, not just a month or 3 months period. Love yourself. We have a very proud and a big, strong foundation of our culture here. It goes back to 1930 and even before that. We have conquered the world basically. We have sold the first million records. Rose now selling platinum. We have something to look back to. Let us get, motivated. They have seen plenty of young children here. I know they go replace us, you know what I mean? Be yourself, love yourself. That's the best advice I could give.
Well, that's the end of the first half of the workshop here today at Napa. I want to say thank you so much for going out to you, Gary, of course, to Jean-Michel, to Second Style, who had to leave, and of course to you, Charles Soon, as well as Braxton.